It's episode 13 of This Week in Track, and on today's show, 8 takeaways from the Boston Marathon. Let's begin, and we start first, of course, with this thrilling women's race turned into a two-woman battle between Perez Jepchirchir and Abebel Yeshina, and the final miles really had it all. Lots of lead changes, back and forth, strategic decisions, a lot of drafting. Things got a bit physical at certain points here. They were bumping into each other just because they were trying to stay so close to one another to get every little bit of an advantage. Here's one example from about 9 minutes left in the race. Jepchirchir so close to Yeshina, almost tripping over her, but the palms stay down. They're communicating back and forth. Palms go up, it's a different story. But they both stay on their feet. They both get to the finish line, and the result is Jepchirchir pulling out a victory to take the Boston Marathon. And with that win, Jepchirchir becomes the first person to win New York City, Boston, and the Olympics in her career. And she did it all in the past 8 months. Just a remarkable accomplishment, and taking down a good field in Boston, a very deep field. There was no London this year, which begs the question, is it Jepchirchir and everybody else, or does Bridget Kosgei still belong in that discussion? Does Jocelyn Jepkosgei, who was one of the pre-race favorites, does she still factor in to this conversation? Or is Jepchirchir just on another level? I want to talk now about the hidden MVP of the Boston Marathon. This is the women's race. This is less than a half mile to go. You can see the blue line on the street. They're supposed to take the right turn here. Now watch what happens. Yeshina in the lead, Jepchirchir behind. Yeshina looks like she didn't know that she was supposed to turn there. Now she's able to recover. She latches right back on. No big deal, because there were so many lead changes in the final miles of this race. But it could have been worse, because what happens if Yeshina just kept going? What if she kept going here and lost 5, 6, 7 meters? Then the headline would have been all about a wrong turn at the end of the Boston Marathon and how that changed the outcome. So why did she not go farther? I did some digging, and we can watch this again, and I'll tell you who the MVP is of this race. I want you to watch right here, this official pointing for her to turn. Now watch, she gets a little closer. Now she's noticing here, hey, Yeshina's a little bit too wide, so she's going to get more animated. Now she's moving even farther out into the street, so she gets Yeshina's attention, because she's seeing, hey, she's drifted way too far off this blue line. Watch what our MVP does next. Okay, now she's full on out in the street, waving her arms, letting Yeshina know, you got to turn, because she sees Jepchirchir going right, and Yeshina's going straight. Meanwhile, nobody else is really pointing. It's all falling on this one official. She's letting her know, turn right, turn right, turn right. Now, when you're running in the last stages of a marathon, you're not thinking with a clear head. Probably all these people blend together. So to have a person in a neon jacket waving their arms pointing this way, this way, this way is super helpful. And Yeshina recovers. No harm, no foul. She gets back with Jepchirchir, and we get to enjoy the final miles of the race. But let's just watch again the masterful work of this race official, starting on the corner where her post is probably on the corner, but she goes above and beyond. Let's watch it one more time. Just great job moving the feet, shuffling and sliding the whole way across. Farther down in the women's result, a familiar name, Edna Kiplagat, 4th. She runs 2:21:40. That is Kiplagat's 16th top 5 in a major marathon performance. You go on her Wikipedia page, and like most elite athletes, you got the list of gold, silver, and bronze over here on the right underneath the PRs. But for Kiplagat, she's been around so long, she got so many top 5s, she gets a whole table. She gets a whole table. You know how long you have to be around to get a table? This is Wikipedia. What they want to do is just have a gigantic block of text. So to bust out a table shows how good she's been for this many years. On the American side, Nell Rojas, the top U.S. finisher for the second year in a row, runs 2:25:57. Molly Seidel, who was predicted by many to be the top American, dropped out before mile 17. She was running with the leaders, then fell off, eventually DNF'd. Here's a statement, courtesy of Sarah Lodge Butler. This is Seidel's first DNF, and prior to this, she hadn't had a single bad race, let alone a single DNF in the marathon. She'll be back. Let's go over to the men's race. Evans Chebet, 2:06:51, ran 13:55 from 35K to 40K, had a 4:26 mile in there, had a 4:27 mile. The pace was relatively conservative by 2022 standards. You knew somebody was going to make a move, and it ended up being Evans Chebet. It was the best finish in Boston since at least the day before. My apologies to the one net fan who watches this show. Another takeaway from the top of the men's race, nobody's really established themselves as a number 2 behind Eliud Kipchoge. Now, I don't expect anybody to compete with Eliud Kipchoge, but it is incredible to look at how many different men have won marathons over the past couple of years. If you go back and you look at the last 12 marathon majors, that's Olympics, that's World Championships, that's Tokyo, that's Chicago, that's Berlin, that's all of them. The 12 that Kipchoge hasn't won since Berlin 2019, the Bekele race, there have been 12 different winners every single time. Evans Chebet, the latest. And on the American side, the men ran really well. Like I said, it was a very tough field, and you had 2 American men in the top 10. Scott Fauble finished 7th, running 2:08:52. Elkanah Kebet, 2:09:07. Fauble runs dead even splits at the halfway mark. He was in 22nd place, a minute back, goes 1:04:26, then runs another 1:04:26. The best type of split is an even split. Next American, CJ Albertson, finished 13th. He went out hard from the gun, then led a little bit in the second half. I think race directors need a CJ Albertson button that they can push to make someone just make a move. It doesn't even need to be actually literally CJ Albertson. It could be somebody else. Anytime these marathons are lagging, need a jolt of excitement, they should just be able to push a button and the designated CJ Albertson goes to the front.